Hope you didn't go too far from yesterday's live show, Training Camp Live, presented by Honda, because we're right back here in Florham Park, presenting you the Jets' second practice with pads, the first open to the public here at One Jets Drive. Ethan Greenberg, Eric Allen, joined by Wayne Krabet. First time this training camp, right?
Yeah, first time here, and I like to be here in a day. They're in pads.
Yeah,
it kind of like separates the great and who wants to be hit, who doesn't want to be hit.
Jets royalty right here, one of the finest players who've ever suited up for the green and white.
Thanks.
Wayne, what do you look for? What do you focus on when you come out to camp?
Like I said, I'm just happy to be here and be around the football, but I like to be on the sideline. The big difference seeing Aaron Rodgers, how he throws the ball, the zip, and how big these guys are. You don't realize it till you're in front of them. But just being around the team, being around the game, try to get out here as much as possible.
Look, you were talking about just 30 seconds ago or a little more than that about how when the pads come on, that's when you can start to separate.
Yeah.
You obviously have a lot of experience with that from when you first signed with the Jets and made the team.
Yeah.
What mentality changes once you put the pads on? Because everybody looks good in shorts and T-shirts.
Yeah, we call it the underwear Olympics. Shorts and T-shirts is like anybody. All of a sudden, you get those alligator arms. You don't want to get hit. Like I said, it separates guys, and if they didn't have that when I played, because we were hitting all the time, could have been a different story. But you're going to see guys shine more yards after catch, those kind of guys. So we're talking about Corley guys like that. So, it's exciting to see.
Wayne, can you talk about the challenge of an undrafted free agent and maybe go back to your own unique story and maybe how it's different for some of these guys who are trying to make the Jets in 2024 because the landscape has changed so much?
Yeah. Like I said, we were hitting like on day one pretty much. And but I said, down to 3 preseason games. The first game preseason, I didn't play. Second, I got in a series in the fourth quarter. And the third, I got in quick versus the Giants because that was the Chevette get in there because they were all stinking it up. So the fourth game, when I started preseason, I wouldn't have had that fourth game to show what I could do. So things are different now for younger guys to have a chance to prove themselves. That one less game could really, make an impact.
Well, you think about also this team specifically, the Jets 2024 roster is so talented up and down that it feels like there's less room for guys to make the team on the back end. When you start, even from last year, look, like last year, you think about guys like Tony Adams who made it 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Irvin Charles is a guy who was cut his rookie year and then he joins, he makes the team last year. Like there's just not a whole lot of wiggle room, which is a good problem to have if you're Joe Douglas come roster cutdown day, because this team is so developed from a depth perspective.
Yeah, just the competition. When you got the guys in the back of the roster that are that good in fighting, you're in a good situation. And I don't look, man. Please, if we stay healthy, on paper, I'm like the eternal optimist. Lavernius is the realist. But, if we stay healthy, we're like 10 deep on the line, weapons, the defense is what it is. And special teams, man, this could be serious. I say it all the time. But just like I said, the front of the roster and the back, this plays out for a big year.
I'm glad you just mentioned special teams, because Brant Boyer just addressed the media here at One Jets Drive. What do you think about the NFL's new kickoff rule and how that could have an impact not only on the Jets but throughout the National Football League?
Yeah, makes it more exciting, get that back in the game. But this goes back to having a specialist that can be out there, and some of those guys haven't had that. You don't need it on touchbacks and stuff like that. So it gets back to special teams, returners and aces. So I love to see it.
Wayne also mentioned Lerris Coles is here. He will be joining the show in a couple minutes, probably like 10, 15 minutes. But going off of special teams also, that's where a lot of guys from a depth perspective can start to make some room in trying to get on the roster. Is there anybody in particular that's maybe not like Aaron Rodgers or Garrett Wilson that you have their name circled? You kind of want to see what they have here today for you.
I don't know as many of the young guys. Like I said, I know the younger receivers that play, but I don't know. I don't know, what to expect. I don't know how hard they're going to go, but these are when the young guys, people are going to take notice. And so, Lavernius is sitting in the shade over there by himself. So like I said, I just want to see good competition and, coaches going at it, the fans in it. Yeah, and it's beautiful. It's going to be a great day.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting fight down the depth chart at multiple positions, including the wide receiver group. But let's talk about somebody we were actually speaking about before we came on air. Malachi Corley, third-round pick out of Western Kentucky. What's his transition going to be like?
I'm not going to say it's easy. It's never easy, but if you watch the film of him, I knew his name, but after he got drafted, I'm watching the film like, wow, this guy runs hard. He runs angry. So people are like, oh, he hasn't done this or that. I'm telling you, when the pads go on, this is what this guy's going to shine. I'm telling you, days like this, he's going to shine. So, yeah, expect big things.
And he's a guy that EA felt like yesterday he started to get some more run with the first team yesterday compared
Yeah, we saw that.
He did?
Yeah, so,
You might be giving a little bit too much out there,
You
Gabe.
think so? Look, well, this time of year, I will say you got to take it with a grain of salt because I remember this time last year, the receiver specifically, so many guys circle through, whether you're playing with the first team, second, or third. Like, it's really hard to take stock into what goes on here at practice at that position this early.
Yeah, it's too early to tell to get, like I said, to these dual practices in the preseason. But that's good. Rotate a little bit. Everybody has to get in there with Aaron a little bit, especially guys that are going to play. But like I said, with these guys, are you going to keep like a sixth receiver or extra cornerback or extra this? That's the guys that have to come out and say, oh, they're not just a special teamer. They could also go in there and get some reps at receivers. So, yeah, I like to see everybody get in there because, when you're in there with a third or fourth string quarterback, maybe the pass isn't right there, this and that. But when you get in there with Aaron, he's going to make you look good. Yeah, you don't have to get open very much. But, yeah, I'm sure these guys getting in the huddle with Aaron are like, I'd be looking at him like, wow, that's Aaron Rodgers. He's that.
Would you really?
Like, if I was young, yeah. I mean, I had Boomer, and I watched Boomer all the time. And I just looked at him like, great player, great guy. But Aaron Rodgers, man, he's as good as they get.
So you were a great route runner who also seemingly had tremendous chemistry with every quarterback you played with. As far as Garrett Wilson is concerned, entering year 3, he caught passes from 6 different quarterbacks throughout the first 2 years.
Yeah.
We've talked about that multiple times here on Training Camp Live. But what's going to be next for him and Aaron Rodgers, a guy that he really hasn't had any time with in the regular season, but you see their chemistry continue to develop each day out here in the summer?
Yeah, it's just reps, after practice, doing this and that. But, yeah, it gets to the point where, like it was me with Vinny specifically, the play's called and we get to the line, and I'm looking, and I'm like, this is going to work. And I look at Vinny, and he's looking at me. I'm like, do you see what I see? And it's just that kind of, like, unspoken. But, yeah, the more he works with him, that relationship, you're just on the same page. He can read Garrett's body language, what he's going to do and where to put it. Imagine what he's going to do with a full year with Aaron, and then you got Mike Williams. Lazard's going to come back big.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, last year was tough. Mentally, it had to be tough. He came here to play with Aaron. Yeah, he's almost like getting another player. Vera Tucker coming back. It's like getting another player. I mean, just the additions and guys coming back healthy, like I said, sky's the limit.
Can you speak to the nonverbal communication? Because you make it seem like it was as simple as you going to the line of scrimmage, lining up right there, looking at Vinny, and there's a head nod, and you guys know exactly what you're thinking when you see a read.
Yeah, if I'm lined up and I know, like, I'm going down, like, if they're split, I'm taking the middle, whatever it is, and I see that the middle, I got to just beat the linebacker, I get in there and, like I said, I see him split, and I'm like, I know where I'm going. And I look at him, he's looking, he's just like, just, like, don't draw attention to it, but just, a little like that. But
So it's as simple as a head nod, not even like a touch of the gloves or a little something?
No, it's just, I don't know, ESP. You just kind of like looking at each other, and then especially with those, option routes where I can go left, right, stop. He just knew, like, if I showed him this, he was going to lead me. If I showed him this, he was going to put it on me. It was just, or he'd throw it down low so I won't get killed.
I kind of wish everybody was seeing Wayne right now.
Yeah.
We're watching The quarterbacks warm up here before the second padded practice here at training camp. We almost lost the light, but Wayne Corbett saved
still
us
got
here
the
on site.
hands.
He still got the great hands.
I think I pulled my back
I'll
out.
tell you what.
That was a great reaction time, too, on set, by the way.
Yeah.
Everybody at once just converged. I wish we had the footage of that, but that was cool.
a strong gust of wind there.
Bye-bye.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
What stands out, not just in terms of the physical skill set, but what he brings to the table on a global basis? All of it.
Yeah, he's gonna make everybody better. And he gets the best out of people. I mean, he's done more with less. But we got weapons here, and you got running back that could take it any time on run or pass, and just the knowledge. He's seen every coverage, anything a Belichick or anybody can do, and just ad lib on the fly. I mean, he could do play breaks down. He knows what he's doing. It might seem like chaos, but he knows exactly what he's doing, and you can't replace that knowledge and experience and being in big games. And I think he's gonna have no problem with the New York media, obviously, and New York fans. They start winning. If he wins one here, that's legacy, man. I mean, it's been a while, but if he's that guy that brings us back to the promised land, forever grateful.
I think about guys like Wayne when we're out here at the balcony at One Jets Drive, where Nathaniel Hackett's taking questions from the media. Wayne suited up for his dad, Paul Hackett, who's the offensive coordinator here in the early 2000s under Herm Edwards, of course.
It all comes full circle here. It's been great to have you on set, but we really need you to come back so we get your opinion from today's practice on Training Camp Live presented by Honda. We've been doing a lot of talking about the offense here on set. Let's head down to the field, hear from Caroline a little bit more about this Jets defense.
Yeah, Ethan, I got to touch on someone who's new to the team, Javon Kinlaw. Now, he spoke yesterday, and he talked about how his offseason goal was to put on weight because he felt like he was getting moved a little bit last season. So as soon as last year ended, he began bulking up, and he played at 305 last year. He's weighing in at 330 right about now. How did he do that, you might ask? Oh, just through his diet. He said he would eat for breakfast maybe 9 eggs, a whole avocado. For lunch, he would mix in maybe 6 chicken breasts and some noodles, and then maybe a pound of ground beef here or there. So obviously he's been really attentive to the details, and he said that he feels a lot better. He's still eating mostly the same, but maybe a little bit less because he doesn't want to get too bulky.
Great stuff, Caroline. Look, Javon Kinlaw, 9 eggs in the morning for breakfast, 6 chicken breasts for lunch, and a pound of ground beef for dinner. That's what Caroline just said. That's what Javon Kinlaw told reporters yesterday as he added 35 pounds of muscle mass. Is he the freakiest looking guy on the team, like in terms of athleticism?
I wish I had an off-season like that where I could add 35 pounds of lean muscle mass.
You got to get on the Pilates reformer. That's what he did. He
He'd
picked
be
up
scaring
Pilates.
everybody inside the business office. Be the office linebacker, Terry Tate, right?
Well, okay, first of all, Javon Kinlaw is doing Pilates. The New York Giants are going to come here in a couple of weeks. Brian Daboll credited Pilates for his weight loss journey, who was also, Jets quarterback coach back in the day?
Yeah, he worked under Eric Mangini.
Yep. So, and Pilates is everywhere right now, but at One Jets Drive, and specifically for the defensive line, really the defense yesterday, EA, they had their best practice of training camp so far in the first padded practice.
Yeah, the pads came on yesterday, and the defense, I think, was waiting for that opportunity. We're watching Javon Kinlaw warm up next to Quinnen Williams, and Kinlaw said, hey, listen, we got a lot off our chest yesterday. I was waiting for that opportunity to get out there. I mean, the game in the trenches is a lot different when you do have the pads come on. I anticipate after what we saw out there, the offense to be a little bit crisper today.
I definitely agree with that, and Jermaine Johnson's obviously a big part of that Jets pass rush. Robert Saleh said yesterday, no update on Hassan Reddick still. Remains on the did not report list. So we have no update there. But in terms of yesterday's practice mixed with today's, the offense did put together a couple really nice practices on Friday and Saturday. Then yesterday, whether it was the first play of practice resulted in an interception, Chuck Clark, a couple fumbles on botched exchanges between center and quarterback.
Yep.
Joe Tippmann had a couple snaps that were a little high. What did Nathaniel Hackett have to say about that today?
He said he's not worried about it. He said Joe's going to get it done, get it fixed, get it corrected. It was a one-day thing, and the Jets are quite confident in their second-year center out of Wisconsin. It's always that double-sided coin because you're like, you don't want the offense to turn the football over, but hey, Chuck Clark getting an interception, that's a good sign for the defense. Alan Lazard said after practice, by the way, I agree with Wayne. I think he's going to have a bounce-back year. He had 3 touchdowns his first week at training camp. He probably would want that one back. The other thing that happened was Aaron Rodgers got tripped up by his offensive lineman when he's trying to give a handoff to Breece Hall, and that was also recovered by the defense. So you want more takeaways from the defense? You got it yesterday. You want the offense to be clean? Well, that was Rodgers' first interception in 5 practices.
Yeah.
He's been awfully accurate so far.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those things. It all depends on how you interpret it, right? It's like, is the glass half full? Is it half empty? The defense played well. The offense didn't have a good day, but it's a back and forth here at training camp. And to your point, especially with what Aaron Rodgers demands from his teammates, I would imagine this practice going to look a little crisper than yesterday.
Well, we're upstairs here on the second floor, right? So we're watching practice yesterday. You could clearly hear Aaron Rodgers talk and have some animated conversations with his offensive teammates after that one play in particular where he was tripped up and he was not able to give the football cleanly to Breece Hall.
Yeah, I think that, we'll see what's in store today, but, we want to highlight a couple players who played well yesterday. Let's start on defense because they won the day, quote unquote. Jamian Sherwood, drafted in 2021, so this is his 4th year in the league, been a special team stalwart really this past couple seasons, but Robert Saleh said that not only the smarts have always been there for him in terms of making the checks and getting everyone lined up, but yesterday and really this whole spring and summer, he started to play a little bit faster as well.
Yeah, well, Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback on offense. We know that. C.J. Mosley, the quarterback on defense. One of the things Jamian Sherwood brings to the table is that he's a really heady ball player, and what Robert Saleh has talked about is that, hey, he's always gotten that part of the game. Now he's finding more ways to make plays while also knowing where everybody should be on defense, like a central command, because he is C.J. Mosley's backup at that Mike position, but he's a guy who I would anticipate is going to see more snaps defensively when the Jets are certainly in base looks.
Yeah, he's the backup green dot, and then offensively, Braylon Allen had a good practice. There was a video of him that he squeaked out the left sideline. We'll see what the offense has in store, but someone who maybe didn't have his best practice yesterday, but he's been playing well, especially as of late, that is Alan Lazard, and for more on him, let's hear from Caroline.
Yeah, Ethan, you teed it up really well. Last year, Alan Lazard was talking about yesterday was his hardest year through all the adversity and all of the changes that he faced with the move, the new team, losing Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback. And so he said he had to really reestablish himself this offseason, both what he brings to the Jets on and off the field. So he moved down to Dallas and he started working out where Derrick Henry works out because of the success that Henry has had and all of the health that he has had throughout his career. So throughout that, he reestablished himself. He decided what he wanted to do. And he said his mindset going into this year is that there's a lot of new heights for him to reach. He thinks that this is going to be his best year yet professionally in his career. And he said that as long as he sticks to the main things, it should be all set. And, the shift has been really noticeable in Lazard through just talking with his teammates and also his play on the field.
Look, that's great stuff on Alan Lazard. Alan Lazard working out where Derrick Henry works out. You know who else is a fan of Derrick Henry is Braylon Allen. And he looks like, maybe not like Derrick Henry because no one does, but he looks like one of the bigger backs in the league. Lerris Coles joins us on set. Again, another guy who looks like he could just put on the pads and go out there to practice.
Look like Tarzan, play like Jane. That's where I'm at right now.
I don't know about that. Would you mind going out there and catching a couple passes from number 8, Aaron Rodgers?
I will pass right now.
Oh,
The game has passed me by. These guys are a lot younger, a lot faster, a lot stronger. And Aaron doesn't seem like he's too tolerable of a guy like me that's moving slow. So I'm just going to stay where I'm at.
How do you think a young Lerris Coles would have gotten along with quarterback Aaron Rodgers?
Oh, great. I mean, I'm one of those guys where I try to understand where they wanted me to be and try to get there to the best of my ability. And if, they wasn't happy with it, I just have them come talk to me on the practice field, get a couple throws in, get back into the film room, maybe show me some things that they wanted me to fix or change, and try to get, because that's the way you're going to get the ball, is if you're on the same page with the quarterback and he believes in you and he trusts in you.
What do you think about this Jets receiver room? It's similar to last year. I mean, we just heard Caroline talk about Alan Lazard, who's been practicing well. How much of a game changer do you think he could be with Mike Williams coming back from injury? We don't really know what he'll look like at the beginning of the year.
I'll be honest, I think it all entails just about how Aaron feels about what he's doing and where he's going to be at on the field. And what happens is you have these quarterbacks such as Aaron, who's played with him before, and he gets comfortable with a guy like Garrett, where he knows Garrett is going to win if he's the first option. He's singled up in man. And then you have somebody like Lazard, who's on the other side, where if he goes to him quickly and he doesn't get open fast enough for him, he's going to come off of him real quick and go back to what he knows is going to win often. So the thing about being prepared for Aaron is just making sure that when he looks at you and gives you the opportunity to get open and catch a pass, make sure you're getting open during that time so that he don't come off of you so fast and start moving on from you quickly.
How much is Rodgers specifically going to help this team inside the red zone? The Jets were worst in the NFL in red zone efficiency last year, and you guys are talking about Lazard. I think about his final 2 years in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers. He combined for 14 touchdowns.
And again, it's getting on the same page with Aaron. And Aaron is going to get them to the right plays. I mean, he's very smart. I mean, the guy's already a Hall of Famer, as we all know. And you don't get to that level without being smart and understanding the game as well as he does. And just talking with your guys and getting on the same page. So in the red zone, they're going to score touchdowns. It's not a problem, not even anything to worry about. It's just about who's going to score them and who's going to have the most touchdowns this year.
I don't know if you just saw that a couple moments ago. We had been talking about the center quarterback exchange between Joe Tippmann and Aaron Rodgers yesterday. A couple high snaps from Tippmann. Look, Aaron Rodgers, he's not one to shy away from confrontation on the football field. Like you said, he let his guys know a little bit like this isn't up to our standard. Big bear hug to start practice here on Tuesday? On a Tuesday morning here at One Jets Drive.
All the days are the same. You know that, LC.
Hey, right now it's Groundhog's Day, and everybody's not going to be happy about everything that happens, which is good. And this is the time to get all those bad things out of your system. Because, I mean, when the time comes you get to play against somebody else, it'll be fun. Because right now they're facing probably one of the best defenses in the NFL. So you're going to have some rough days. And being able to compete against them and have successful plays will get you where you need to be down the road.
We were talking to your buddy about it before, Wayne Corbett. What changes when the pads come on? And then let's further that a little bit. The defense got the better of the offense yesterday. What's an offensive meeting like when you're watching film, when you know the other side gave it to you, and what kind of response is expected?
Well, a lot of the times when you look at films after you consider it a horrible practice, you go back and you look at it, and it's not as bad as you really think a lot of the times. The times you think it's really horrible, when you go sit there and watch film, it's just a miscue here, miscue there. The coaches will try to pick out some of the positive things that did happen in some of those plays, because maybe there was a guy wide open and the ball was on the ground. Maybe a guy did have a great block, but then another guy missed his block, which caused the play to fail. So everything ain't as bad as it always seems, and it always as good as it seems when the offense is clicking. So you'll get some positives out of the negatives and some negatives out of the positives every time. And then it's just them balancing it out and making sure everybody stay even keel and not get too panicked. But then again, like I say, you have to think about it. You're playing against one of the best defenses in the NFL on a daily basis with top corners, interior D linemen, guys coming off the edge. And if you can have any type of success against them on a daily basis, you can have success against anybody.
And so that must bode well, in your opinion, for a guy like Garrett Wilson, because every day we've been out here, which has been every practice, Garrett Wilson continues to make plays. And, Wayne called you a realist. He called himself an eternal optimist. He called you a realist. With that being said, what do you expect from a guy like Garrett Wilson with not only a fully healthy Aaron Rodgers, but a new offensive line maybe gives him a little more time to set up his guys?
I think just growth. And, I mean, as time goes on, he's already made himself one of the best receivers to ever walk in a Jets building. So I think just him been on the same page with the same quarterback for a full season, somebody that's very good at that craft, which Aaron is, he will be fine and he will excel. He'll be a 1,000-yard receiver, probably a Pro Bowler. Eventually he'll hit the numbers that he want to hit and just continue to be great. I already think he's probably in the top two Jets receivers that ever come through here, in my opinion. I mean, he's up there with, in my opinion, with Maynard and Wesley Walker with just ability and everything like that.
That's a hell of a compliment.
Oh
right
yeah,
there.
he's the real deal. He's the real deal. The real deal.
The real deal from Lerris Coles, who's one of the finest receivers ever to lace them up here for the green and white. What's the difference in year 2 of an offensive system for the players if you were here last year? Can you, because I just asked Nathaniel Hackett about it. Robert Saleh has indicated that you're getting a lot more plays off as opposed to last year here in camp.
Well, I think year 2 is not only great for the guys, but then having an understanding of your coaching staff, which is the most important thing, because in the first year, you're just trying to understand what they're telling you to do, where to line up, where to be. I mean, it's tough. I mean, you're learning a playbook at the same time. And then once you actually know exactly what they're demanding from you, then it makes it easier for you to go out and just play and be natural throughout the game where you're not thinking as much and you just allow your talent to take over and just be a great player. So I think you'll see a big difference in the speed of the game for these guys where they're not thinking. And then, like I said, their talent takes over. And that's why I say Garrett is going to take the next step because he's had a year in the system. He probably understands what they're asking him to do, and he's already super talented. So,
last question for you. Take us behind the curtain a little bit. When you're watching practice, specifically the receivers, whether it's individual drills, like what are you looking for in receivers that maybe, like for your own evaluation purposes, that you think people should pay attention to a little bit?
Ultimately, I watch the younger guys, to be honest, because the veteran guys, like I said, know that the guys you're 1 and you're 2 and you're 3, usually those guys, they're all different body types because you're going to have an outside guy, inside guy. But what I look for is I look for the younger guys on the back end that are picking it up and emulating the first 2 or 3 guys very well. And then you know that those guys could be some guys that could fill in later on down the road and probably help your team later on in case something happens you don't want to happen.
Jets are playing in Jacksonville in December. You got anything special planned or what?
Of course. You guys got to come down and visit my cigar bar. Have a cigar with me.
Ooh, okay.
I'm definitely taking you up on that.
Yeah, I agree with that. EA and I will be there. What's the name of the cigar bar?
Goodfellas Cigar Bar.
Okay. All right. If you're in Jacksonville, check it out. If you're going to Jets Jags in December, you said, EA?
Yes.
December 15th
Check it out
is
then,
the game.
too.
December 15th.
Okay, December 15th, so December 14th, we'll see you there.
Yeah. Awesome.
LC, appreciate the time. Thanks for joining
you
here
guys
on
for
Training
having me.
Camp Live, presented by Honda. Again, this is the Jets' second padded practice, the first one open to the fans. EA, we were talking about guys who practiced well yesterday. In the defensive line here, if you kind of squeak through the back, you see number 91. He was on your screen a moment ago, no longer John Franklin Myers, and that number, obviously, it's Braden McGregor, the undrafted free agent out of Michigan. He had a couple sacks yesterday, and again, when the pads come on, things change a little bit. So right now, you would say trajectory up for a guy like Braden McGregor.
Yeah, he's been buzzing around the quarterback. How about Eric Watts, number 58 as well? He's a guy who made some noise throughout the spring. And then I've also been intrigued by what I've seen out of McKinley. That's a former first-round pick who's looking for a career reset here with the Jets.
Yeah, I think that, again, this is who's going to pop. That's the question here. And we'll start to see a little bit more in today's practice throughout the next couple of weeks and then what happens against the Commanders, the Panthers, and the Giants. But we have less than 5 minutes here on Training Camp Live presented by Honda. So, look, we can talk about practice. We're going to talk about practice all summer long. But we wanted to bring up something a little bit different now, EA, didn't we?
Well, yeah. Sometimes in the summer you celebrate people who are graduating, right?
Yeah, I think so.
That's the season.
I haven't been in school in eight years, but
for me, it's been more like 28 years, Grace. The Jets' production and content team, I think, is second to none. Very recently nominated for 21 sports Emmys in New York. So there's a lot of people behind the scenes here who, frankly, fly under the radar. And we just want to acknowledge a few people who have contributed to this group over the past few years and have been instrumental in all our success, starting with Perry Mattern. You want a word on Perry?
Well, Perry, of course, he went to Twitter already, and X, I guess I should say, and Instagram, no longer with us, the head of our social department, now a member of the Brooklyn Nets and New York Liberty, doing great things for them. So I would say he's the first domino in this trio.